Hello. So welcome. This is Malik, your financial emancipator. And so I'm so happy to do a video today. I haven't done a video in a little bit. This new year, 2019, has been just like crazy. So I'm glad to be able to do a video today. As you can see, I have my little corner area in my bedroom that I really like. It's really comfortable chair. So I feel like I can present videos to you guys a little bit better. So we're moving. Got a little good light from outside, some sunlight. So we're moving. I wanted to talk to you guys today really quickly because I don't have that much time. But I wanted to talk about yesterday's podcast episode. So yesterday's podcast episode was episode 159, and it's about dating. And who are you dating? Are you dating your finances or someone else's finances? What is the role of money in dating, and how does it determine your value? In a sense of where you will and will not go and date. If you haven't already listened to the podcast, please go ahead and check it out. This kind of came up from Major Hype had put up a video on Valentine's Day, and it was really talking about, well, whether you're a girl who can go to Olive Garden, or whether you're someone who should be taken out on dates to places that have reservations. And so this is a very topic. I've had the discussions on Facebook. I've had the discussions with my friends. Like, it's been a really interesting topic because it makes you think and wonder, like, what does it all really mean? I would love to hear from men on this because it's just a funny thing. So this idea that your value is being determined by where you will go to eat on a first date or on the first couple of dates. And the question being, do you say something or show something or project something to a man under the guidelines that, these traditions where men pay for dates? Are you projecting something to him if you will be taken to the Olive Garden versus demanding to go to Mr. Chow's or wherever, these fancy restaurants? And I say this all the time. I don't like Mr. Chow's, so it's okay. But I do like STK. So a nice trip to STK, I wouldn't mind. But I'm not expecting that a man who's going to meet me for the first time or the second time or just getting to know me, if I'm being honest and if I'm being financially conscious, I'm not going to expect that a man who I just met, a man who goes to work every day, is going to come out and take me on a date where he's going to spend $250 for dinner. Now, I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm not saying I'm not worth it, whatever, my wonderful time. What I am saying is that reality. The reality of someone who goes to work every day is that they have obligations and bills. We're not teenagers. We're not young people. At least I'm not. I'm over 35. And if you're over 35 and you meet people who are also over 35, they have obligations, bills, and things. If you're talking about people who go to work every day, most of those people work to they live to their money they earn. So people just having $250, $300 to throw off on dinner on a random person who they just met is not a reality, right? In the circles that I roll in. Now, maybe, if I need to start rolling in different circles, I could find me somebody like that. But the reality of it is that a lot of times, if that was a situation, people weren't, if you earn money, right, and you have bills, it's very hard to think that you can just drop money like that. And again, dropping that kind of money on someone who you don't know. We're talking about dating. We're not talking about in a relationship. We're not talking about someone who you have grown to love and have care and concern for, and this is what you want to do for them. We're not talking special occasions. The context of this was really like, I want to go out with you. I would like to, talk to you, and you have to, and me being a woman saying, no, you can't take me to Olive Garden. You need to take me to Mr. Child's. It just sounds ridiculous to me. But I also think that it's about being financially responsible and being financially conscious, or even being what I would consider to be having financial empathy. You don't know a person's pockets. That's the reality. And I don't think that it's fair to demand from someone else what you don't know. This is why, for me, if a person's going to ask me out on a date, they should plan the date. Because that way you are planning to your pockets. So ask me where I want to go, because you don't know what my pockets and where I like to go. If you're planning the date, you should plan it. If you ask for the date, you should plan it, and that way it's in your price range. Listen, there's no rhyme or reason to what people should or shouldn't spend. I don't believe in that a first date should cost this much or whatever. And I don't think that it speaks to your value if you decide that you want to go someplace, you're okay with going wherever a person will take you. Now, here's my thing. Me personally, food needs to be good. Place needs to be clean. And if I'm not paying, I'm not getting involved with all of that. I'm not getting involved with it. Because the reality is the person who's taking you out on the date is the person who should dictate the cost of the date. And I don't think that it has any reflection on your value, meaning, a person's going to think you're not worthy of XYZ because you allowed them to take you to a chain restaurant. I think that's a stretch. I could be wrong. I'd love to hear your comments, but I think it's a stretch personally. I also think that value is something that you have. You have your own value, self-value. You know what works for you and what doesn't. You know where your value is. You know what's important to you and what's not. If it's important to you that you eat at a high-end restaurant on your first date, then that's who you should date and that's how you should date. But you have to understand in those situations and circumstances, you're limited to who you can date. Because the reality is a person's not broke just because they can't spend $250 on dinner when they first meet you. Those two things don't go together. As the financial emancipator, if I was advising that person, I'd be like, don't you dare go out there and spend $250 on a person you don't know. Ridiculous. Dating is already expensive enough. Dinner already, no matter where you go. I mean, people talk about going to Olive Garden, Applebee's. That shit is still $60, $70. And if that's not money you had planned away, it's still going to hit your pocket. I don't believe on going Dutch on dates. I don't believe in that. I just think it's like you ask me on a date, don't ask me to split, because I could do that with my friends. I go out with my friends, not split. But we should all be reasonable. And I think that's the most important part. But this idea that is tied to who you are as a woman is tied to who you see yourself as. Because let me tell you something. A man can take you out on a date based on a few things. How he values you, meaning he looks at you and he thinks that this is your value, and then he takes you. Again, that cuts both ways, because he can look at you and be like, you know what, this chick, she'll go anywhere, she'll eat anything. I'm taking her right to the diner. And then he could look at you also and be like, you know what, this chick, she's something. I'm gonna take her here or there. He could make either one of those assessments. Sometimes a man is taking you out based on what he values and about himself. So you could be like, I don't care. I don't eat at those restaurants. I don't care who I'm going out with. I'm going up to wherever because this is what I like. Or he could be looking at you and thinking, I don't care what she says she is. I know what she is. And this is why I'm going to take her. So it could all be, he could be making those assessments about you based on where he takes you. And that could be a reflection of that. But you're only going to know that if you go out on the date. And so demanding that you go to a high-end restaurant, he will also make an assessment about you. It could be right or wrong, but he can also make that assessment. And at the end of the day, when we get into people's pockets and finances, we should be respectful. I don't want nobody, and I mean nobody, demanding anything from me as far as financially, because you have no idea what's going on in my finances. If you're a person, you're an adult, you have responsibilities and financial obligations. There's no reason for someone to go out into the world and be expected to pretend, or even if they're not pretending, overextend themselves to go on a date to prove to you that they value you higher than whatever. This is very confusing. At the end of the day, when it comes to dating and finances, everyone should go out and spend the money that they have allocated to do this, and not put themselves into a debt or into a bad situation to impress somebody who they don't know, and they don't even know if that person is going to be someone important in their life. I don't think that any of our value, yours, his, yours, hers, whomever, however, should be placed and be so fragile that it kind of is determined by how much money is spent on a meal. At the end of the day, food is in and it goes out, right? So it shouldn't determine who you are as a person, depending on where you go to eat on a date. And I don't think it should determine how the person on the other side of it values you based on where you're willing to go to eat. That's just my 2 cents on it. It's a follow-up to the podcast, episode 159. That's up now on all platforms. Go check it out if you haven't already. Leave comments. Give me your feedback. I'd love to hear from the men. I want to hear what you guys think, because we're talking a lot about what you all should be spending. I want to know how you're spending money on dates, and what do you value, and what does it mean to you, whether you can take a woman to one place or the next. Thanks so much, guys, for listening today. I'm so happy to get back on my videos, and I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks. And if you haven't already, check it out. Check me out on YouTube. This video will be on YouTube at Financial Emancipator. It's also on IGTV, and there'll be clips all over Instagram and all over my socials. Talk to you soon.